Jimin reportedly ran straight out of the military training room upon receiving the news. "It's Jungkook," he murmured, with a shocked expression and a voice barely audible. The news he received was not just ordinary information. It concerned the life of a friend and younger brother he had always protected. Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS, was once again experiencing health complications amid his military service. But this time, military doctors found something far more complex and alarming: 5 medical diagnoses at once, the result of a thorough examination after a sudden incident during intense physical training. What exactly is Jungkook experiencing? And why is this condition only being revealed now? According to internal medical sources from the military environment, Jungkook collapsed suddenly after a joint training session at South Korea's special military training facility. This incident was initially covered up, but could no longer be hidden when Jungkook had to be rushed to the military hospital in an unresponsive state. "We found symptoms indicating the presence of chronic complications likely formed from old injuries," said a military doctor who declined to be named. He stated that the diagnosis results showed 5 major health issues that raised concern among the medical team. 5 serious diagnoses discovered first: chronic musculoskeletal injury. This is related to the heel injury Jungkook sustained in London in 2018, which apparently never fully healed. The strain of military training worsened this condition, causing severe inflammation in the tendon and ligament tissues of his left foot. Second, chronic fatigue syndrome. This is a medical condition that disrupts the body's overall energy system and is very common in individuals under extreme pressure for long periods. In Jungkook's case, the pressure of being a public figure, combined with intense physical activity in the military, created a fatal combination. Third, mild cardiac arrhythmia. This condition is surprising, as Jungkook has always been known as a physically active performer. However, doctors said that stress and acute fatigue can trigger irregular heart rhythms, especially in patients with a history of extreme mobility like Jungkook. Fourth, inflammation of the left shoulder joint, the result of a stage injury that never truly healed. According to reports, the condition flared up again after Jungkook underwent physical training in rough terrain. The resulting pain was so severe that it limited movement in his left arm for days. Fifth, and most concerning, are early signs of an immunological disorder, marked by a weakened immune response to minor infections. This makes Jungkook highly vulnerable to viruses or bacteria that are usually harmless to healthy individuals. Jimin's emotional response. Panic inside the barracks upon hearing that Jungkook was rushed to a medical facility. Jimin reportedly immediately left his post and requested special permission to see his friend. Several eyewitnesses stated that Jimin appeared to lose control of his emotions, refused to eat, and spoke only a few words to the unit commander. "I need to know his condition now," he said in a trembling voice. "I end the waiting room of the military hospital." Jimin sat hugging his knees. When he was finally allowed to read the preliminary medical evaluation, Jimin reportedly couldn't hold back tears. One officer said he heard Jimin say, "Why didn't he say anything? Why did he have to bear this alone all this time?" Tension among ARMY and global reactions. This news spread quickly among BTS fans, or ARMY, around the world. Social media was flooded with tears, prayers, and concern. Many recalled how Jungkook always appeared smiling in front of the camera, dancing with enthusiasm, as if he had no burdens. But now, one by one, his physical secrets and old injuries are being revealed, making many fans feel shaken and even guilty. "If we had known he was in pain all this time, we definitely wouldn't have demanded more from him," wrote a fan in an online community. Many also blamed the overly harsh military training system, especially for individuals with a history of injury and an unusual workload like Jungkook. Special request. Jimin calls for further medical evaluation. Not remaining silent, Jimin immediately submitted a request to the medical unit for a follow-up evaluation by civilian doctors outside the military facility. He also contacted management to coordinate the possibility of dual medical supervision for Jungkook's condition. "We can't wait for him to collapse a second time. We must make sure this doesn't happen again," Jimin told a staff member, as quoted from an internal source. This move also raises new questions. Was the diagnosis only discovered during the military incident, or were there signs long before that? Some sources said Jungkook had a habit of enduring pain and continuing to perform professionally for fans, even if it meant risking his health. Long-term impact. Will Jungkook be allowed to complete his mandatory military service? Now the question shifts. Will Jungkook continue his military service, or will he be considered for medical leave or a re-evaluation of his physical eligibility? The medical team is reportedly considering that scenario, especially after MRI scans and blood tests showed signs of systemic fatigue that could not be ignored. Army is demanding that the military and BTS management be more transparent about Jungkook's health condition. He doesn't just belong to the industry. He's human, with a body that has endured thousands of hours of training and performances, said one international fanbase. Closing, when popularity meets physical limits, Jungkook's case opens the public's eyes to the fact that behind global fame and grand stages, there is a body constantly forced to work beyond its limits. The 5 diagnoses he now faces are not just medical statistics. They are real evidence of pressure, dedication, and the silent sacrifices of an idol who has always seemed unshakable. Now, the world sees Jungkook not only as a great performer, but also as a human being who is fighting. And one thing is certain, the whole world, including Jimin and Army, will remain by his side. Yet amid the excitement of media coverage and the surge of public enthusiasm, one question cannot be ignored. Did this event truly happen? Or are we all part of a narrative so carefully constructed to steer public emotion and attract mass attention? This is the right moment for all of us to pause, take a deep breath, and reflect. To what extent do we understand the boundary between fact and fiction in this fast-paced, distraction-filled information era? In the context of widely circulated information, be it on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or other digital media, it must be emphasized that the flow of news is not a guarantee of truth. Many of us tend to believe information simply because it went viral or was shared by accounts with large followings. But does the popularity of information equal its validity? Are we not caught in an echo chamber where repeatedly stated opinions become a kind of false truth? For example, in this case, which claims that BTS's Jimin showed emotional solidarity with Suga due to rumors of contract withdrawal from Samsung, the information comes from various sources, some even from unverified individual posts, video clips claimed as evidence, to screenshots of conversations that could be manipulated. So, are we satisfied accepting all this as proof? Have we truly verified these sources? Who first spread this news, and what are the motives behind its dissemination? We are not claiming that the event is impossible. There may well be fragments of truth behind every rumor. However, when information originates from various unofficial channels laden with popularity-driven algorithms, isn't the public being emotionally manipulated? Isn't it very likely that such narratives are created purely to evoke fan empathy, increase interaction, and ultimately benefit certain parties economically? Another question worth pondering. Why are we inclined to immediately believe narratives that align with our emotional desires or hopes? Is it because we feel emotionally connected to public figures like Jimin and Suga, so the line between reality and imagination becomes blurred? In such intense fandom culture, we often don't realize that our desire to feel close to idols is exploited by those skilled in creating viral content. If this narrative turns out to be a hoax, or worse, a communication ploy by parties with specific interests, then aren't we becoming victims of digital sensationalism? Have we been critical enough in distinguishing between information built with journalistic integrity and content created purely for engagement? It must be underlined that in today's digital era, anyone can become a news distributor. No editorial team, editor, or fact-checking is needed to make information go viral. A 15-second TikTok video can generate massive speculation. But when we share or believe information without investigating it first, aren't we indirectly spreading potential disinformation? As a smart digital society, we must start asking deeper questions. Who first published this information? What is the motive behind the post? Is there verification from credible media or just speculation from personal accounts? Is this information supported by real evidence or just interpretations of video or text fragments? In a broader context, this phenomenon reminds us of the importance of media literacy. The ability to read, analyze, and evaluate information must be a key tool in facing the flood of digital content. We can no longer remain passive consumers who simply accept what is served by social media algorithms. On the contrary, we must actively question, doubt, and if necessary, ignore information that lacks a strong foundation.